going to test the plug-in power voltage of the Zoom M4 MicTrak. In case you want to use an external mic and use the 3.5 volt line in, it works with mics or other things, but if you want to plug it into something like an external mic like this, or if you want to use a set of Omni mics like the Clippies, those type of mics, it's good to know what kind of power this puts out to whether it's getting enough power to your microphone. I'm going to test it with two different types of battery, like the 1.2 volt nickel metal hydride batteries. That's the most common battery that people use nowadays, the rechargeable ones. I'm going to also use the higher voltage lithium ion batteries, the 1.5 volt battery, and see if the voltages make any difference. Both of these sets of batteries are charged fully on them, and I'll let them set to equalize a little bit. But first I'm just going to try these batteries. And like I said, they're only 1.2 volt with them, so I'm not sure if it'll make a difference in the voltage we get or not. And with these audio recorders, you have to change in the settings for the battery. Most of the time, all the change makes is how the Zoom will read the batteries and tell you how much power is left in them, and it shouldn't make a difference on how it performs in any way, but I'm going to find out for sure. Slightly put this in here. Hand tighten it. Okay, and before you do anything, you got to turn on the plug-in power with these on them. So you have to go into the menu, go to System Settings here, select that, and select Power. And you have to change the battery type and turn on plug-in power. So with the battery type, I've got it set to nickel metal hydride. Back out of that, go down to plug-in power, make sure that's turned on, just on and off with it, back out. So we can test the plug-in power. It should be getting plug-in power now for us to be able to test it, and we've got the battery set to the right type of battery. So it's just a matter of plugging this cord in with it, and then taking a multimeter and see what sort of reading we get. So you're basically just touching two rings on here, the outer ring and the inner gold portion of the ring on it. See what voltage we get. So with this, I'm getting 2.26 volts. It can vary slightly between multimeters. Sometimes you'll get just a hair more, but just minute percentages differences on the two. So test again. 2.26, it flashed at 2.27. So with the 1.2 volt batteries in it, that's what we're going to get. I'm going to switch over to these now and see if it makes any difference on it. So I just have to shut it down. Put these Mupar batteries in them. They're actually been pretty solid battery. I've used them for a few months now. Been pretty happy with them. Any of these things I use in here, I'll put a link to the cord and the batteries, that sort of thing, where if you want to use them yourself, you can. So now I got to go back in. I got to change what type of battery it is on it. So I'm going to just boot it up. And the one thing about this Zoom M4, it boots up fairly fast, better than some of the other recorders that I have with it. So we go back to input. Whoops. Back out of that. Go to the menu. Then I go down to System. Select that. Then down to Power. And then have to select battery type and switch it from nickel metal hydride to lithium. And I can back out. I've got the plug-in power on. Check that again, it's turned on. I can back all the way out. I'm going to test the voltage again here. See if the higher voltage of the battery pack makes a difference to what plug-in power comes out. Now you can use a resistor in between these to put a load on your cord on here to see if the voltage drops any. A load will sort of simulate a microphone being hooked up on them, but usually the voltage is lower as opposed to higher on it. So the highest it's going to be is when you test this here. So getting the same voltage, that's a negative just because I've got these swapped. Switching back to the rings here. So 2.26, get the same voltage. No matter if I use a higher voltage battery set on them, it doesn't make a difference. You're going to get possibly a little longer run time, but these recorders are set to work in a fairly broad range to work with the standard 1.5 like the old style alkaline batteries, or to work down to 1.2 volt batteries with them without causing any problems to it. So it doesn't make a difference. The voltage on this recorder is not very high. Some of the Zoom recorders are on the low side on them. You really won't, coming out of these, plug-in power anywhere from 2.5 to 5 volts. And the majority of the ones I've been running across are in the 2.2 to 2.6 or so, but most of them are a little below the 2.5 voltage that a lot of the external microphones recommend using on them. And you get a cleaner results with a little bit higher voltage, more in the higher around 5 volt range for some of the higher end external mics on them to be able to be powered correctly. Some can take up to about 9 volts or so, but to be safe, most of these recorders only put out about 2.5 volts on them, and it'll run them, most of these external mics, but not ideally without putting an external power pack in between the two to get a little bit higher voltage out of it. So just wanted to test it and see what kind of voltage we got, and see if the battery type made a difference. And the battery types doesn't, whether it's a 1.5 or a 1.2 volt, it still put out the same amount of power to your microphone. So if that helped you at all, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.